Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Cece Michael with Cleaning Business Builders, and welcome to today's webinar. You are joining our monthly third Thursday at 3 webinar series. We are talking today about operations assessment, what you want to think about when you think about operations and processes and systems, and what you need to be making sure you have put together in your business. Tom Stewart comes from a background with logistics and operations before he came into the cleaning industry, so we are quite pleased to have him. He built the assessment you'll be receiving by email after the webinar, and he is also leading the webinar and talking you through the assessment and considerations you want to have for when you're thinking about operations. I do want to point out this is the final in our 6th webinar series on assessments for your business. But it is certainly not the final third Thursday webinar. We will be continuing our series in 2015. So be sure to make a little place on your electronic calendar, a little recurring appointment. Every third Thursday at 3 o'clock Eastern, we will have a webinar. On some topic that's come to us, a challenge somebody presented, common questions. We'll be having guest speakers at various times, so we are excited to be continuing our third Thursday at 3 series. We'll tell you a little bit more about that towards the end, so you can make sure you got the topics you want on your calendar. We've introduced Tom before if you were with us last month. He is the owner and president of Castle Keepers of Charleston with his wife, Janice. This year is year number 20 that they've been with the business, and they've had 3 generations. Tom and Janice are the second, and their daughter has spent a couple of summers with us. So he's starting the 3rd generation on the family business. Certainly taking it seriously. He's a highly certified, IICRC certified firm, a SIM certified firm, and we are excited about the new ISSA training standards that are coming out and building those into the business as well, and helping everybody learn about those. He's the publisher for Cleaning Business Today, partner with Derek Christian and Liz Trotter in Cleaning Business Builders, and so much more. He's particularly proud, though, that he and Janice invented the chemical-free cleaning procedure for professional residential cleaning businesses. With that, which I find a quite noble introduction, I hope to achieve someday, I am going to ask Tom Stewart to begin his presentation on operations assessments for your cleaning business. Tom?
Wow, Cece, thank you. That was quite an introduction. I hope I'll live up to the billing at this point. Let's go ahead and just jump right into this. We, I guess, had a questionnaire that we sent out as part of the registration for this program, and we got some feedback in terms of where our biggest challenges lie, and it fell into 4 areas. I guess one of the first areas that was identified was recurring revenue, and you can kind of see that by the sales and marketing bar. And reoccurring revenue is very important to growing a residential cleaning business, and there's several aspects of that. You have to have good measurements in place where you know where your revenue is actually coming from, and you have to have processes in place to take every possible existing client prospect and nurture that relationship in a way where you can turn them into a long-term, regular, recurring client. Second area of business that was identified was basically just growing the business. You can see that, and I guess there's a couple dimensions of that. One was on the staffing side, and the other is customer relations side. That really touches about every aspect of your business, and when we get into the presentation, at the end we'll show you our foundations process flow that will make that a little more obvious. Another area which was identified was increasing the value of the business, and a large part of that is just the strategy. You need to know what you want your business to be and have a plan in place to help make that happen, and we'll drill down into that a little bit more once we get into the questions as well. At the end of this, you'll get a download with the questions that we're going to be sharing with you here today. It's 20 questions. You'll be able to take it yourself and score it, and it's a good opportunity at that point to look to identify. There's only so many hours in the day, so the whole idea is to identify where the biggest opportunities are. I like to refer to that as the low-hanging fruit, and you start working on the areas that have the most opportunity for improvement. Pareto principle applies here. A lot of times you can get 80% of the benefit out of 20% of the effort. So if you know where most of the benefit can be realized, that's where you want to be spending your time. And it'll be a little more obvious once we get to the end of the questionnaire how to do that. First question is, do you know the percentage of your monthly and annual revenue that is generated from recurring clients or contracts? Recurring clients are a beautiful thing in the residential cleaning industry. They stack. They're like annuities. Once you get somebody signed up for weekly service, you can service that person for a long, long time. If most of your cleanings are one-time jobs, then it's kind of like you're constantly eating what you kill. You have to be out there every day just looking for enough work to reach your break-even point. So knowing what your monthly reoccurring revenue is and who those clients are and having a plan to develop that is important. The second question is, do you have a process in place for increasing the percentage of reoccurring revenue? Kind of goes with number one. We touched upon this earlier, that you first need to know where your regular reoccurring revenue is coming from, who those clients are, and you also need to know what clients you have. Maybe you know, they're just one-time clients. Maybe they go sporadically, and you know, what are the opportunities of converting them and selling them on regular reoccurring service. But you don't limit it there. You need to be able to track former clients, people who you know, aren't using your service anymore for one of a number of reasons. There's always an opportunity to convert them. There's a lot of different ways that you can stay in front of them and maintain, you know, at least an awareness that you're here, and from time to time extend an opportunity to bring them back into your service. And even regular reoccurring clients, you always have an opportunity to increase their service frequency. And all of that basically, you know, when you're working that side of your business, you're going to be growing your revenue without necessarily having to go out and find new clients every week. Third question, do you have a strategy, plan, and process for increasing revenue streams? We talked about regular recurring revenue, and you want that to be a material part of where your revenue is coming from, but you certainly don't need to limit it to that. There's always upsell opportunities, everything from things that your house cleaning technicians can do, such as everything from cleaning up, appliances to mattress refreshes to, spot cleaning carpet. You can also look at, diversifying and getting into windows, getting into carpet cleaning. And if you don't want to do that, you can also build relationships with other contractors who do and cross-promote and basically sell those jobs and sub it out to contractors in your area. And all of those are opportunities to increase the revenue stream off of your pool of clients and prospective clients. Do you have a strategy, plan, and process for expanding your market? Your market is defined in several different dimensions. One is just geographic market, how big an area do you serve, and as part of your growth plan, expanding that, maybe opening an additional location. Your market can also be defined by niches within the market. Do you specialize in services for, say, seniors, or for people with certain health issues, or for pet owners, or for people with children, or expectant mothers? I mean, there's all kinds of different ways that you can diversify by going into various market niches and specializing and promoting to those specific demographics. And your combination of several in geography at the same time. You need a plan for that is the point if you want to manage your growth. Next question, do you have a strategy plan and process for developing your brand? Your brand is basically who you are. You've got a name for your company, you've got a logo. It goes beyond that. It's your people, how you communicate. Your communications plan is part of it. Your equipment, your uniform, your website, your social media strategy, your advertising. All of that needs to be tied together, and be it your website or your uniform or how you're talking to people on the phone or maybe a direct mail piece. It all needs to look, sound, and have the same feel, philosophy, and be promoting the same values. That's how you build your brand. If everything looks a little bit different and the messages are always changing, then you really don't stand for anything, and your clients and your consumers, your prospective clients, won't be able to relate to who you are when you come calling to get their business. Next question, do you have a KPI measurement plan and process in place for tracking the success and challenges of your plans? If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. A large part of all the training and work that we do in foundations, measurement is a huge part of it. KPIs, key performance indicators, is what that stands for. And you can measure your sales pipeline. You can certainly measure where your streams of revenue are coming from. You want to break down if you've got niche markets or different geographic markets that you serve. You want to be tracking revenue from them and clients from them individually. And you're going to see numbers are going up and down. Maybe the bottom line is staying where it is, or it might be moving up or down, but within each one of your geographic markets or niche markets, you can see larger changes. And if the numbers are moving in a good direction, you want to do more of what was making that happen. And if they're moving in a bad direction, you need to figure that out and address it as well. You're doing that now, you're really doing things that can grow your revenue and grow your business. Let's see, our next question. Now we're going to shift to increasing the value of the business. A little bit different focus here. We're going to start by asking if we have a clear mission statement and core values to guide the business. You really don't want to talk about policies, procedure, marketing. You don't even want to hire anybody. I mean, you are where you are, but before you make additional investments, in your business, you really need to stop and reflect and figure out what your core values are and what your mission is. And I'm a technical guy. I'm an engineer, I guess, by training, and a lot of that, there was a time in my life where I kind of thought that was kind of soft mumbo jumbo, and it's all about the numbers. But I've been doing this long enough, and to come to the realization that it's huge. Yeah, I can't overemphasize how important it is to have core values. It helps. With your hiring, it helps the people that work in your organization know how to handle situations, handle them appropriately, and it helps when you're dealing with clients. Everybody just knows, or has a much better idea, the right and the wrong way to handle situations. And your mission statement, obviously, is part and parcel of that. Next question. Do you have a plan and process for measuring and creating efficiency within your business systems? Efficiency, another way of measuring, or, another term for that would be productivity. Making sure that you're getting as much out of everything that you're investing in your business. You've got cleaning technicians on your payroll. They're on the clock from the minute their day starts to the minute that their day ends. Some of their time is spent, looking out a windshield, going from house to house. Some of it might be spent in the office. Some of it might be spent, being wasted because they don't have the right supplies. They get lost. Their vacuum's broken. Whatever the case might be. You want, as close as you can, every minute that people are on the clock, you want them to be cleaning something and generating revenue, as an example of efficiency. And you get that through logistics, you get that through training. And when I am cleaning, if I'm in a house generating revenue, I want to be able to do it efficiently as possible. I want to have the best tools. I want to have the best training. I want to know, the methods to get in and out of that home, meet the specification of work, satisfy the client, and get on to my next one with as few amount of labor hours tied up in that job as possible, and can't overemphasize how important that is. Once you start focusing on that, you'll find that you can make more money by cleaning fewer homes if you're more efficient at cleaning the homes that you're cleaning. Next question, do you have a process written, taught, and enforced for maintaining the physical property of your business? Basically what we're talking about is your building in the major capital pieces, in it, I guess part of that you might want to include your, computers and, IT investment. Isn't something that necessarily is top of mind on a day-by-day, minute-by-minute basis, but it's not a problem, so it becomes a problem, and then it can be a big problem. So you want to make sure that you've at least gone through some contingency planning, and I would include in that disaster recovery. What happens if there's an earthquake or a hurricane or flood or some other natural disaster? How are you going to deal with that? You don't want to. There's a lot of sad stories out there where people have lost their business because they didn't plan accordingly for such things. The next question, kind of along the same thought, is process that we've written, taught, and enforced for maintaining supplies and equipment. We talked earlier about your brand, and your supplies and equipment are part of your brand. You want to have consistency. You don't want to, everybody needs to have the same equipment, the same supplies, the same cleaning products. They all need to look good. They need to be clean. They need to look professional. They need to, so when you're walking into a client's home and a client sees it, they can be, it invokes confidence. It makes you look like it, you know what you're doing, because you do know what you're doing. But if your equipment doesn't speak that, then it can hurt your brand. We also talked about efficiency and productivity, and if you don't have the right tools and equipment, and if they aren't being maintained properly, you're not going to be as productive. You're going to lose time because somebody's going to plug their vacuum in and it's not going to run, and then one of a number of things you have to do at that point, and none of them are good. So that's an important thing that you need to have in place. Next, do you have a process written, taught, and enforced for moving prospects through the sales pipeline towards a financial transaction? This is an important part of growing your business. A sales pipeline, on one end, you've got prospects, people who are in your community that might have an interest in doing business with your business, and you advertise and you do other things in order to get those prospects into your sales pipeline where they're actually a contact or somebody that you can have some communication with, and you want to give them a proposal, you want to give them a bid, you want to give them a quote, you want to have an opportunity to clean their house, and you want to then take them and turn them into a regular reoccurring client. You want to be able to upsell them and do additional services for them. And you want to get referrals and testimonials from them. You want them to go on Yelp and Google Plus and say that you got the most rocking cleaning business in town. And that's kind of how you take somebody through the sales pipeline. Says easy, does hard, especially when you got a whole bunch of prospects out there and keeping up and managing it. And you need systems in place. You need KPIs to track to make sure that it's working the way it's supposed to. Next question. Do you have processes written, taught, and enforced for managing common employee experiences and needs? Your employees, don't necessarily come to work every day when they're supposed to, and they might not be there on time. They might, have issues where cars break down, kids get sick. Sometimes people are late. And even when they're here, sometimes we get complaints. Sometimes we forget to follow the rules. And, sometimes, life happens too, where, how do you handle situations where there's an allegation of theft, or how do you handle a situation where, an employee doesn't have enough money to pay the rent, at the end of the month. All of these things, you don't want to just have to make it up when it happens. You do this long enough and you really know you're going to break things in a house. So how are you going to handle that? What are your processes? If you can institutionalize those, if you can admit those to paper, and everybody in the organization just knows the way what's going to, if this happens, this is what's going to happen as a result of that. You find it a lot easier to run your business. You get much better results, and you spend your time growing rather than solving the same problem over and over again. Next question, do you have processes written, taught, and enforced for managing common financial transactions and activities? Money comes in, money goes out, people get paychecks, taxes need to be paid, it goes on and on and on. You don't even, those all just need to be autopilot. If you're running a business, you don't even want to think about those. So you really want to have processes written out so you know how to handle the normal process flow, and you've got plans in place to deal with exceptions. You have processes written, taught, and enforced for managing common legal transactions and activities. Kind of along, the same lines. From time to time, things pop up where, you have clients that have certain claims. Maybe, that you damage something in their home, that you have to get the insurance company involved. Occasionally, there's matters of litigation. Sometimes, you have tax issues where you need an attorney's help, and you need to have people if you have other people working in your office in a support role, they need to know, what questions that they can handle and what questions they need to pass to the owner, pass to the manager, pass to you, just to make sure that you don't have people speaking out of turns on things and sharing things with people that they shouldn't. Okay, the last set of questions we have here are about securing the income and value of the business. Number 16, do you have a business succession plan covering both a planned and an emergency transition? This is one of those things. It's not an issue until it becomes an issue, and when it becomes an issue, it can be a matter of you're in business or you aren't in business. There's a couple dimensions of it. None of us are going to be working in our business forever. There's a lot of, very few things that I can be confidently say in a way that I can guarantee, but that I will guarantee. None of us will be working in our business forever. We're either going to quit, we're going to retire, we're going to die, something. So we need to have a plan in place as to what we're going to do with the business when the time comes when that transition needs to be made. There's two dimensions of it. A planned, organized transition where you want to get out of the business. Do you want to continue to own it and have somebody else manage it? Do you want to find a buyer? How do you want to handle that? You need to have a plan in place to do it, and it can take years to fully develop a plan. If the idea is to keep it and have people in your business run it, do those people know about that plan? Last thing you want to do, because the other dimension of this is the emergency transition. What happens if we have the misfortune of stepping out in front of a bus this afternoon and we're no longer available to be running our business? What's going to happen the next day? How the paycheck's going to get out, how the work order is going to be created, and how's everything else going to happen? If the idea is, well, my office manager would just take over, well, maybe you need to have a talk with your office manager before that becomes an issue, because I'm sure your office manager would have a whole lot of questions before you'd actually be able to move forward with that. Next question, do you have a basic business insurance, staff-related insurance, and home services-related insurance in place and maintain? Insurance, again, some insurance is required by law, and you certainly want to make sure that you're following all local, state, and federal requirements in that regard. Above and beyond that, you owe it to all your stakeholders. You owe it to your employees to make sure you have workers' comp insurance. You owe it to your clients to make sure you have you have general liability and employee dishonesty coverage, and you have automobile insurance, and you owe it to you and the owners of your business to make sure you're doing that as well, to protect that asset in the event that some misfortune happens. Number 18, do you have a reliable accountant who, in my assessment, really needs to be a certified public accountant? A lot of reasons for that. Not to say there's a lot of smart people out there who aren't CPAs, but a CPA can give you an extra level of coverage if something comes up of legal concern or dealing with the IRS. They have credentials and are authorized to represent you in ways that someone who doesn't have those credentials can't. And it kind of falls in that category of insurance. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So I highly recommend that you establish a professional relationship with a CPA. You need an attorney, maybe two attorneys, one to help on the business side, one to help with the employment law side. And they need to know something about your business. And if you don't have those professionals in place, that would be one thing that I would suggest putting on your to-do list for 2015. It's nice to have those relationships. Sometimes it's very necessary. 19, do you complete a market and competition survey annually to accurately gauge the potential for your business development opportunities? A couple of things going on here. You want to know what your competitors are doing. You want to know how many clients they have, how many employees they have. You want to know what they're charging, what services they're offering. You want to know what geographic markets they're in. And then at the same time, you want to know what gaps might be out there that they aren't servicing and maybe you aren't servicing either, that you know, is an opportunity, an unfilled need. Rate increases on an annual basis is kind of part of this whole exercise as well, and you would make some determination as to how you want to go about implementing your rate increases based upon this survey as well. Finally, do you have an operations manual? All your internal work processes and responsibilities are collected, organized, accessible to all members of the company. A lot of what we've talked about here is documenting your processes and your workflows and your work instructions. Having that together in one place that's accessible to your support staff and maybe your staff as a whole, depending upon what aspect is important. It's useful, and you find that it certainly, as the owner and chief executive officer of your business, it can make your life a whole lot easier, because rather than going to the boss and asking them what do we need to do, you can refer them to the book and just, let's just go ahead and do it the way the procedure and policy states that we should be doing it. So for each one of these questions, you'll be getting a copy of this at the end of the presentation. It's a yes or no answer. And if you find yourself having to deliberate on a question and try to figure out, well, maybe it's yes, maybe it's no, I'm not sure, let me make it easy for you. It's no. If you can't obviously and quickly say, heck yeah, I got that, the answer is no, and you move on. So you shouldn't take but just a few minutes to fill out this questionnaire. When you do, you add up the number of questions that you answered as yes and put it in the box, and you translate the score down here in this grid. And if you went through, and what you want to do is go back on a 6-month basis and do it again and see what your score is. And if you're finding the lowest hanging fruit, the areas in which you've got the fewest number of yeses on this assessment, and then you kind of overlay it in terms of what your objectives and goals are, and where you get the most return off of your investment, you can knock a number of these out, fairly quickly. This is the primary process flow for foundations. This kind of ties into some of the questions that we just went over. We talked about the sales pipeline. That's down here in the middle, where you're finding people who have homes that need to be cleaned, and you're converting them into clients, and then you're maintaining a relationship with them so they're a long-term client. Parallel to the sales pipeline is a recruiting pipeline. Part of the equation is I need to find homes to clean. The other part of the equation is I need to find people to clean them. So you're constantly recruiting technicians, and you're evaluating and hiring some of them, and then those that you hire, you need to train and nurture and develop to qualified, skilled, customer service-oriented cleaning technicians. We talked about the supplies and equipment. You take all three of those. You have to schedule, mix and match, put them together, dispatch, send them out in the field for the day, and you clean stuff. So what we do really is pretty simple. If you've got, the processes in place, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel and try to figure out how to solve the same problems over and over and over again. And saying that, there are support processes, and we talked about these two, in the assessment that we just went through: payroll, taxes, legal, there's HR issues, but certainly you need processes defined for all of these. These are all necessary evil. These aren't directly generating revenue every day, but this is where a lot of your efficiency and cost savings can come if you can get good at doing those processes in an automated and efficient way. Coming up, going into next year, we've got a few programs that are already scheduled. I guess the first one up is going to be in March, 13th through 15th. That's a Friday through Sunday event. It's going to be the Extreme Marketing Makeover. It's a 3-day event. It's going to be in Cincinnati, Ohio. Derek Christian is going to be hosting it. It's going to be covering a number of topics in the area of digital marketing, how to use web-based tools, along with online branding, public relations, and traditional marketing as well. It's kind of a comprehensive approach, pulling all that together in a synergistic way. We talked earlier in this discussion about your brand and developing your brand, how to pull all those various marketing tools together in a way where it's generating revenue for you and building your brand at the same time. The cost for that program is going to be $299. It's going to be early bird registration. That's going to be beginning here shortly, and I think that's going to be $249 up through the end of January. We're going to be doing another Foundations class, the Foundation 6. We'll be launching that in April. More information on that to come next year. Cece mentioned that we'll continue to do our Thursday at 3 o'clock webinars, so we'll be talking more about that next year. We're going to do a program in late July, early August in Atlanta. No place I'd rather be in the dead of summer in Atlanta. Just kidding. It's going to be hot, but we're inside, so we don't care. Atlanta's a cool place, actually. It's a great place to teach a class. It's easy for a lot of people to get to. The class is going to be on what we call residential cleaning, and it's cleaning that residential cleaning companies can engage in, but it's not your traditional, Mrs. Jones clean their house every other week. It's you're doing business with another business. It might be senior living facilities. It might be property management groups. There's a lot of businesses out there who have space that people live in, people sleep in, but they're looking for professional cleaners that know how to clean things that look like residential space. And this is what this program is going to be focused on. That we do a fair amount of that here at Castle Keepers. Derek does it up in Cincinnati as well. And we're going to be sharing with you tricks and techniques as to how you can grow your business in those niche markets. At that point, that's pretty much the end of our formal presentation. Cece, do we want to take questions at this point?
I would be absolutely delighted to take questions. You all have a chat option. If you're looking at your webinar interface in the top right corner, you should see a chat button. You click right on that. It'll look just like instant messaging, and you can type your questions right in there. We'll be happy to take them. So I'll give you a couple minutes to get that in there. Certainly echo Tom's invitation to join us third Thursdays at 3. Our January program is going to feature Derek Christian. He has built a calculator that will help you, and a list of steps, ways to find the data to help you identify your current market share for your business. How much of your local market do you own versus all of your competitors put together? And it's an incredible tool. We will be sharing that tool with you. So I do hope you will join us for that. That will be third Thursday in January at 3 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be sharing more of our 2015 schedule as it develops. We've got some insurance topics. We're trying to get those scheduled. So I don't want to tell you when they are yet because we're not completely sure. So those are some of the things that'll be coming up. So far, I'm not seeing any questions. So I hope you are furiously typing, and they're just taking a couple extra seconds to transfer through the webinar system to me. So we look forward to that. Know that you can always, after the webinar, as you're looking through the assessment, you are always welcome to contact us, mail@cleaningbusinessbuilders.com. I'm the one who catches those emails, and I will get you the best answers we have available to us to whatever the question is. We always look forward to hearing from folks and following up with you after the webinar in whatever way is useful to you. We've had a lot of fun this last 6 months with this assessment webinar series. We started out with basic business basic business assessment, excuse me. Went through a leadership assessment that both owners and top management, so anybody you've got on your office staff probably would be in that as well. So we went through, kind of a personal assessment on the leadership qualities. We have moved through marketing assessments and financial assessments and key performance indicators, some of those Tom talked about. The webinars for all of those were recorded, and they are available for free for anybody to watch on our YouTube channel. So I hope that you have subscribed to that so that whenever we post something new, you get a little notification. We definitely want you to keep up with us and take advantage of the complimentary resources that we make available through our website and our YouTube channel. I will say I'm not seeing any questions today, so I'm going to call us wrapped up. Know, again, that we are always available to you. Give us a shout by email at mail@cleaningbusinessbuilders.com. And as Tom mentioned earlier, you will be getting an email shortly after the webinar that contains your complimentary assessment, the exact assessment that Tom showed you on the screen during the webinar. You're going to get that exact assessment. No changes, no deletions, no abridgments, the complete exact assessment. We're glad to be sharing that with you today. So we look forward to talking with you again next month. We will sign off for this month. Have a great holiday and a blessed new year as well.
Well, thank you very much. We'll see you next year.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.